Namaste, it's Vanessa-Mary, your favorite holistic wellbeing coach. I am coming on to the live stream with another episode. It will be the second episode, actually, of my podcast series, which is called Leading with Heart. So I'm going to be introducing you to an amazing man that I have met through the networking circuit. We've been connected for a number of years now. But for any of you that are actually watching the live, excuse me, you might see me popping up again on the live stream. Yes, I have just done a podcast, so this is me again. All right, so let me introduce you to Rohan Williams. Hi, Rohan.
Hi, Vanessa. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So Rohan Williams from MyDigiVA. We have been connected for a number of years, like I said, but would you like to introduce yourself, Rohan, please?
Absolutely, yes. I'm Rohan. My company is Raw Corporation, and they call me the key holder of time, Vanessa, because I help people get their CRM systems sorted out for them.
And what a good job you do with that. So we will talk about how you're supporting me a little bit further on in the conversation. But just to let anybody tuning in know, this is my new podcast where I'm speaking to mums and dads in business. So we're talking about business, family life, health and well-being. And it's actually set around the framework that I am using, which supports me with the event that I host annually. So yes, if you're watching this when I'm recording it, the event that I'm hosting is coming up on Saturday, the 17th of May, 2025. But if you're watching this in the future, then no doubt I'll be planning the next version of the event. So the event is called Seeds of Unlimited Success, and the framework that sits behind the event is called Seeds. So in the conversation that I'm going to have today with Rohan, I'm going to be asking them questions which are relevant to the Seeds framework. So welcome, Rohan. Like I said, you're my second guest here. So please bear with me. As I explained to you before, you know, this framework, it really does support the event because the event isn't just a one-off event. Okay, so first of all, I do want to say thank you for you stepping in and becoming a silver sponsor of the event. So thank you very much. And we'll talk about how you're supporting me with that. So I don't want to explain it because I'll probably mess it up, but do you want to explain the community portal and how the attendees, the speakers and exhibitors are having an opportunity to network before we actually meet each other?
Yeah, a brilliant question as well. Yes, so the community portal, and I guess very prevalent in today's world in terms of trying to engage our audiences. So we have all these wonderful platforms, Facebook and LinkedIn, where we try our outreach. But actually within the business, we want to be, and in our own networks like Seeds for Success, Unlimited Success Network, then it's more and more prevalent to try and re-engage that audience, not just for what they see at the event, but actually that pre-event, that post-event engagement. And by having a portal, which is one of the features that we're supporting you with through our CRM tool, is that this really does allow your community, the exhibitors, the administrators, the people who are going to watch the event online, actually come to a place altogether where they can literally hand swap and business share their contact details, network offline, arrange those one-to-ones pre-event, post-event, or even just to educate each other about what is coming up. Look out for me at the event, or it'd be great to have a coffee with you at the event. So by having a community portal, not only just it takes a little bit of that pressure off actually attending an event and having a little bit of that overwhelm that we all experience, that we're in a room with lots of people that we don't potentially know or not sure about what the format's going to be. Really does take a little bit of the edge off, that we've now got a new network that people can communicate and share their ideas with. And yeah, we're excited that that this is a wonderful piece that's come on for this year's event, where I can see in the background all the members now connecting, sharing their stories and making those connections. So a really good place having the community portal.
Oh, I'm so grateful for this, Rohan, because last year you weren't able to attend the event, but you took out an advert with me in the program, and you did a little welcome that we showed to the delegates, and everyone was so impressed. But what I will say is, yesterday I received a telephone call from one of the delegates who said, Vanessa, you know, this event is already amazing. This community portal, what's going on? So thank you so much. So, you know, the first S for the framework is actually supportive network. So, you know, I really do feel that we're coming in strong with the community portal. You know, it's like you said, giving people an opportunity to just say hi, or even if they're not speaking right now, they're getting a flavour who's going to be in the room. So I do want to put a call out to anybody who has your ticket to the event, or you're an exhibitor or you're a speaker. If you haven't yet logged into the portal, put your profile up, you know, made yourself known somehow, please do take 5 minutes to do that, because like what Rohan said, it takes away the anxiety. You know, Rohan, have we got an echo? I feel like we've got an echo coming from somewhere. Have you got all? Let me make sure I've got no devices on. I can hear myself. It's doing me head in. Let me close that one down. Okay, I think we should be okay. But yeah, so that was the first S. But let's take it back to your business. So the S for supportive network. Do you want to talk about your business and overall how you are supporting your clients and other initiatives that are sitting within your business, please?
Absolutely, and that big S for me is we turn this into time. So when I introduced it, they called me the keyholder time, and our whole essence in terms of our business model is, yes, we're selling a solution, and that's been a CRM system that can adapt with the businesses that we work with. But more importantly, this is not about just selling a piece of software that looks good for a business. Our whole purpose of this is about converting that time, as all of us small business owners, our family-run businesses, time is probably one of the highest commodity that we have. You know, there's the saying, we can get more money, but we can't get more time. And what we've got to do is we want to flip that around, and we want to engage our network, our clients, in terms of saying, look, this is a tool that, using a CRM correctly, is going to, seriously, on average, can save you 10 hours, 15 hours every single month, allowing our business owners and our clients to do more of the most important things in their business. And we see that a mixture of, hey, I can make more sales, or I can grow my business. But if it's like me, one of my biggest motives coming from corporate land was, actually, I want more time to spend with my family, because my corporate life took 70 hours a week away from me, and that meant I do not have a social, I do not have a family life. So for me, I use my CRM and educate my members to use a CRM tool to automate as much as they can, to alleviate as much time to do the things that they find important for themselves.
Took the camera off. I was that excited by what you said. No, this is incredible. Before we go further down the framework, do you just want to, you know, tell us a bit more about your family, please, Rohan? Because you've got such an exciting, it sounds exciting to me because I live in Nottingham in England. But do you just want to tell us a little bit about your family life, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm married. In fact, our 9th wedding anniversary is this month, towards the end of this month. 20th rings a bell, just after the event as well. But yeah, so married for 9 years. We have two kiddies, a little 8-year-old daughter and a 6-year-old son. And when I scale back, I go back to that previous 9 years when I was in corporate. I guess what this sort of stems from wanting to go to a kiddies nativity play or a school activity. It's the winter nativity play, I think is the right word for it. And back then, this was planned time off that you can have away, but when corporate ring you up and say, no, we're going to scumper those plans and you must be here, there and everywhere, sort of realize that's not what this is all about. You know, my family is all about, hey, we want to be spontaneous about the things we do. We come to the end of the week, so we always do our Friday is our, I don't do any networking on Friday afternoons. I try and keep that as a schedule that I use that as my kids can say, hey, let's plan what we're going to want to do this weekend. And if that's just a run up in the fields or run out in the mountains, or can we go to do whatever activity we want to do, want to make sure that that is always something that I keep free for me and for my family time before the end of the weekend. So yeah, my wife is Serbian as well. Just to add, we met in the UK. We got a second home out in Serbia, where we've just built another home out in the mountains where her parents are. So yeah, now having real flexibility of being a bit of a digital nomad in that respect, that we can just decide, hey, we're going to be out for the bank holiday or for the holidays, we're going to go out to Serbia and vice versa.
Oh, wow, that just sounds so magical. You could see my excitement. You know, I've written down Serbia because that's why I put the preference at the beginning. I'm in Nottingham. It feels really boring compared to the life that you're having. But what I would say as well is I love the fact that your value system is centered around your family. You know, I've known as someone who's been networking with you for a number of years now, oh no, Rohan doesn't do anything on a Friday. So I do want to say thank you for stepping in for me to cover me last week, actually, with some networking. But, you know, obviously, you've always told us that you're the key holder of time. And people need to understand that, as you said, we're not going to get this time back. Okay, so focusing on our family is very important. Now, Rohan, I want to talk about how are we focusing, or how do you focus on your needs in terms of emotional well-being? So we're now looking at the E in seeds, which is emotional well-being. What type of things? You've just mentioned going into the mountains with your family, but what other things do you do in your life, in your routine, which is about emotional well-being?
Yeah, and it's almost a very difficult question, certainly with an 8 and a 6-year-old, and don't get me wrong, the activities that are probably more centered around kiddies at this current period in their life sort of are still enjoyable to me, because actually it allows me to regress to my childhood. And when we talk about emotional well-being, I remember a great course with Raj Soren, actually, who's in one of our networks, that he was focusing on how do we ensure that we are giving enough time for ourselves, not the kids, not the wife, for you specifically. And when I delve into this sort of session that I had with Raj, I sort of relapsed to the times what made me happy. I used to love doing sports activities. I used to love playing music. That was me, my space, my headphones on, and just me and what I used to do and what I used to love doing. And I guess now, probably for the last 2.5 years, I've been making sure that is always a little part of my week. And again, it comes back to this Friday. My Friday focus day is that actually as much as my calendar is blocked out, I make sure I set an appointment up with myself every single Friday between 7 and 8 a.m. in the morning, where I can just do whatever I want, put my headphones on, listen to some music, make sure I read a book, whatever it is that I want to do at that time, where my kids, my family understand this is Rohan is having his 1 hour, Dad's having his 1 hour this week, where he's just going to recharge and do whatever it is that he wants to do. And I guess that's a practice that it doesn't even, a little difficult to get into a routine, because it's more time, and all the guilt trips in. Should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? Should I be working? And I've sort of said, no, actually, this gives me a real grounded health responsibility, not just for myself, but for my well-being, that this is 1 hour, when we talk about the context of how many hours we have in a week, which really does keep me supercharged and energetic. And the rest of that comes from the weekend, because that secondary enjoyment with being there for my kids, playing that football, going to dance classes on evening classes with my kid are all those ingredients where I get a reminder about what the real benefits of having a healthy lifestyle, not a wealthy working relationship. It's I go to work to make sure I can enjoy what I want to do in the evenings and with my family.
Wow, that was incredible, Rohan. Thank you so much for sharing. And I noticed actually that I have ordered the conversation emotional well-being above enterprise development. So we are going to talk about the second E in seeds. But then it dawned on me, maybe the reason why I want this part of the conversation to come out early is because, you know, we are souls having a human experience. So the idea of work, yes, we do need to work. Yes, it is fantastic to have a business and to grow and develop with the business and everything. And you can share more in a minute. But, you know, our emotional well-being is sacred. And you've actually just explained how that looks like for you. And I love the idea of setting the appointment. I've written down the Friday focus. I actually talk about feelings a little bit more on Fridays. You know, I've trained as an emotional fitness coach. So actually being tuned into our emotions is very important. So thank you for sharing that. So now we will talk about the second E, which is enterprise development. If you wanted to maybe share a little bit about your journey. You know, I've known you for about 2 years and I can see how things have evolved for you. But as I said in a podcast on Monday, sometimes people are just seeing who you are right now, and they're maybe not understanding the things that you've had to overcome, the different barriers, the different success that you've had along the way. So I'll turn it over to you, really, if you wanted to tell us about that, please.
Wow. Okay. And as you're asking me that one, Vanessa, I'm starting thinking, where do I put the pin in and where do I start from on this one? But no, as I sort of mentioned just earlier, that I've spent 20 odd years in corporate life, working with some big banking institutions and some automotive institutions, and albeit in a younger life, these are all wonderful things to do, and with no responsibilities. It's very career focused at that period. But it is only the birth of family that it is true that as soon as there's a birth, the whole life flashes and changes immediately, literally within a split second. So for me, I guess that the journey to come out and start thinking about myself and the future probably started back in 2019, end of 2019, when I had to go and do a corporate event as opposed to coming to watch my daughter's first nativity play. And from there, it was always a solid focus that I'm going to go this alone. I'm going to make this happen, and I've got all the drive and motivation from my corporate high profile. Right around the corner, though, was the global pandemic. I think we'll leave it at that. Where, as no sooner am I letting the ink dry on my business plan and the route I'm taking to market for my business in early 2020, is the same time the world decides to sort of shut down. So immediately my business had to diversify. The savings I took from corporate, which was about a marketing strategy to really push my business forward, actually had to be left alone, and actually became survival money. Being left and being self-employed at that time, there was no access to any funding for me. I was too early as a business to get any funding. I was too far behind to get anything back from a corporate from a self-assessment point. So yeah, my first 6 months were pretty much surviving off some of the savings I had, and questionable, do I now need to look for getting my foot back into some form of work? This budget can only go so far. So those were the first sort of struggles, but within that, I actually found my super niche within this journey. My goal was that I was going to go back to automotive clients and only deal with corporate level tier companies. But because of the pandemic, because staycation started booming in the UK, and actually lots of pop-up businesses, and there was a flurry of DIYs and things that we could do in the UK, then actually I found a small gap actually going back to small business owners and one-man bands effectively, who needed that extra support with some virtual digital assistance. These are those little pockets that I started having to find to keep myself alive and just keep paying the bills effectively. But what happened after this was some of the recognition, some of the testimonials, some of the reviews that these small business owners started providing me and referring me on to some other people, where it sort of opened up my mind in terms of thinking, you don't get this in corporate, and the appreciation you get from genuine small business owners who really see the value that you gave for them and refer them and help my business grow that way certainly was an eye-opener, and what took me from, even now when I look at that business plan, so vastly different to what it is today. So yeah, there's always been trials, tribulations. We're 5.5 years in, and I would only even now probably say it only feels this year, 2025, it actually feels our business is now, our foundations have hardened, they've cemented, and it really feels like we've found our baseline, and as opposed to the up and down wiggles of going from paycheck to paycheck, just feel like there's become a steady flow of great corporate business customers that we can now steady our ship and really start accelerating our growth this year.
Oh, excellent. Thank you so much for sharing, Rohan, because I think what you've expressed there is just keeping it real. I think people come into the business environment and feel that they're going to get instant success and instant recognition and an instant cash flow. No, that is not the case. You've got to be prepared to actually roll your sleeves up and actually make sacrifices along the way, which may be about your time, maybe about your savings, investments, and also reaching out for people that can help you. So I've heard all of that in what you've said there. You know, I've written down surviving or thriving. The first element of what we're doing, you have to be prepared to be in survival mode. I have been explaining, and you know this yourself, Rohan, that I was still working at the university and coaching part-time, but I was using my university income as a silent investor in my business. So, you know, don't be, wherever you are on your journey, we have to recognize that it does take time. As you just said there, Rohan, you are in now a state where you can see there's more consistency, the brand's out there. And that's what I was going to say as well. Showing up, you're always showing up and being on point with your branding and getting that message over to us. Even if you think, I know they've heard it before, I'm going to tell them again. And I think that's a very, very good thing that you do there. And I've written down here ideas that actually sparked the innovation. So again, your story has shown us how you may feel like you're going down one path with your business, but actually because of circumstances, something else comes out. And then this is the direction of travel, you know, what you should be doing. So that was wonderful. Thank you. So let's now talk about discussion and accountability. And I think in this regard, we could maybe think about the networks that you're part of. As I've said, you and I, we've never actually met each other face to face. But we've spent quite a lot of time with each other online. Did you maybe want to, we don't have to name names, but do you want to give us a flavour of the different networks that you're part of and the discussions that you're involved in? Because I know that you're very much a supporter behind the scenes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, networking, and I guess it's a vital ingredient for any small business. If there isn't a budget to throw at loads of Google ads and hope for the best, that's one way of looking at it. But networking is really the one of the root causes of allowing a business to flourish and to grow, especially for us small business owners and family-run businesses. We need those people, whether or not we see them in person or not, Vanessa. But we're part of our indirect board meetings. When we come to each other's meetings, we're all part of the board, and we know enough about each other to send referrals, invite, and introduce other people in the network. So networking is definitely key for me. We're part of BNI is one of the major networks, and we're part of an international BNI network. We're part of Silvertray, which is also your headline sponsor this year. I'm pausing, thinking, make sure I get this bit right.
No, yeah. They are. So shout out to the Silvertree Exchange UK, who have become our headline sponsor. Yeah, I'm so grateful.
Which I believe is fantastic in itself. Probably more a fellowship than a networking, and definitely a different outlook on how networking and doing business is done through Silver. And then we're part of the 4N network in the UK as well, which we cross paths many times through on the 4N, and I guess there's these networks for me. But it's I don't go to those looking who I'm going to convert or buy a deal from. I go there for learning from others, getting inspiration from others, having that bit of sanity sometimes, because it does get lonely being on your own in terms of business. So to sit in a room with lots of different people every day in a different network certainly gives me an edge in terms of, I feel like I'm out there, I'm getting my branding out there, I am learning from other people, and yes, I am educating others as much as other people are educating me. And I think that's a wonderful way for us, and it's a wonderful part of our business and our business growth.
No, I agree with you, because I've written down about introductions and referrals. It's very important that not only are we open to supporting others within the network, whatever network you're part of, do look out for introductions, do make those referrals. I actually wrote a post, I think it was sometime this year, where I said, are you networking on behalf of others? Some people are actually very good at that, and I've observed who, you can tell actually when they're in the room, it's not really about them. They're thinking, oh, who can I make this connection with and that connection? And you can see how they themselves flourish in a different way. So I loved everything that you said. And also the business boardroom. Yes, Rohan. I myself have found the discussions that I've been part of, the advice that I've been given, the leadership lessons that I've heard from others have inspired me. They've motivated me. They've kept me going, because we don't know what we don't know. And that is what, for me personally, my journey in networks has done. And we didn't mention the 1N community. So yeah, they're all fantastic. Whatever community you personally belong to, I would just say, and I'm sure Rohan would agree with me, find like-minded individuals who you feel you can. When we say do business with, it doesn't necessarily mean you're being their customer or they're being your customer. Be entrepreneurial together, share ideas, share experiences, and be supportive to each other as well. So it's all good. So Rohan, as we're going to come down to the final S, which is about succession planning. Obviously, you've mentioned you've got your family, your youngsters, they're 8 and 6, that's very, very young. But, thinking about the future, I don't know what else you're doing, but, how do you kind of like, what does succession planning mean to you at this stage of your business journey and where your family are? If you just wanted to give us your thoughts on that, please.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a daily conversation I have with myself, but certainly as I think about what is my retirement, what is my exit, where is the real growth in our business, then all these questions do come into question. And succession for me is not about growing this business to become more busy in there. This needs to be handed off to somebody. There needs to be a network around me. So our next, so strategy wise, my next would be, hey, look, my wife is still in the corporate environment. She works for Mondelez Group, and it would be great to have her stepping away from that corporate side of things to join run some of these tasks, and that will pretty much unlock another level of freedom that we're both looking for. Shame we can't employ 8 and 9-year-olds into a business at such an early age, but the education in terms of business, I'm using this as a if it's funny, if they were here now, there's a little bit of a joke. What does Daddy do? And they will always introduce me as, hey, my dad is the key holder of time, and that there is, as much as I'm not sure they fully understand the full concept what that means. It's that there is I try and educate in terms of, hey, look, life is not about being corporate life. Life is not about working every single hour. You've got to enjoy yourself, and the time element is about making sure that we do things that we want to do. And that's why I keep that Friday afternoon that nobody can interrupt, because that's that time I allow my kids to dictate what happens on a Friday afternoon, for example. So for the succession, our whole model is about collaborating and partnering with other people, and this is where the networking itself comes into play. We do work with, we don't directly employ. That's not one thing that we've factored into our business model. But what we want to do is collaborate and form partnerships with other individuals that can do certain elements of the work that we do, so we can outsource and grow until that time comes where my kids can take over, can be a part of that business and start taking over the reins. Because I would like to leave, like everybody, we all want to leave some legacy, and for me, mine doesn't want to be, I don't want to leave a poor legacy, because that my motivation is to make sure this is left in a certain shape and a certain condition where my kids can inherit, take on, and actually turn this into a business that they can call their own as well.
Oh, excellent. So thank you for sharing. I've written down free spirit. Just getting to know you better and what you've described here about your lifestyle. I can hear that you and your wife, you must be free spirits, and obviously how you're supporting your children to think about life as well, and maybe what they're going to do in the future. Leaving a legacy, yes. The strap line for the event is growing your family legacy. And what I'm discovering is the word legacy doesn't necessarily have to do with money. It could be you've written a book. It could be you've written, like for me, these podcasts and things that I'm producing are going to be part of my legacy. We've had mums and dads on the other sessions that I've done who've explained how something they did has changed the way how institutions have been run. So they've left legacy by standing to their values and saying, no, I don't agree with that. I think we should do it this way. So my thoughts are changing around that word, but I think all of us together, we are causing ripples across the way and within the communities that we're in. So I just wanted to say as well, Rohan, going back to giving gratitude, you've supported me from last year with this event. This year, the support has taken place in another way. So hopefully, we can be one of your partners, moving forward as I continue to grow my brand and, reach out with, making the community get bigger and get more people involved in what I'm doing. I'd love for us to continue to work together. So it's all wonderful. But Rohan, my final question. So I just want to say thank you so much for your time, for your stories and sharing this part of your life. Just want to make sure that I can touch base with you here and, where can we find you? Is there any information that you want us to be plugging in terms of your website? Where can people find you on social media and so forth?
Excellent question. So we try and keep ourselves accessible as possible. Our website is always the first point of call. You can find pretty much all our stuff and a little short video blast on what we do in more detail, and that's by visiting MyDigiVA.io. WhatsApping is a wonderful tool these days for being connected with people. So you can WhatsApp me or drop me an email, I guess.
And you're very active on LinkedIn as well. I don't know about the other social media platforms, but I know you using LinkedIn. So anybody watching via LinkedIn, if you're not already connected to Rohan, then please do reach out. So it's Rohan Williams. Please do reach out and connect with Rohan or follow him on LinkedIn. So Rohan, do you have any final thoughts? I mean, we've spoke about life, business, family. Do you have any final thoughts that you wanted to share with those who may be listening today, please?
Yeah, it's hard going through a different journey. But my final thought to everybody, and certainly whilst we're part of the seeds of unlimited success here, is that when it comes to your business, you've got to stay focused, you've got to stay networked, and you've got to build and collaborate with as many of those people as you can. So my shout out is actually the other way, that if you haven't already, please do book on, whether it's come in person or via online, to the Seeds of Unlimited Success event that's coming on the 17th of May. And I'm sure you'll see this all over LinkedIn, and it'd be great to connect with the portal that we're on.
I know.
To connecting with everybody in the portal as well. So my final word is just that. Let's stay focused, appreciate every ounce of time that you have, and make sure that you spend every ounce of your time wisely, for yourself and for your business.
Yeah, and your family. And I just wanted to say as well, thank you for that shout out, Rohan. Anybody who has a ticket for the event, so there are virtual tickets available as well. Don't think that, I can't get to Nottingham, I can't be there. If you want to be part of this event, we're on 10 days to go, actually, when we're recording this podcast series. Come on, get off the fence. Make your purchase. Every ticket holder will be invited to be interviewed on this podcast series. So this is my podcast series, which is called Leading with Heart, where we're going to go deeper into your life, into your business and your family life. So, I'm giving you lots of opportunities to shine online, and also we have opportunities for you waiting at the event. But Rohan, thank you so much for giving us your time today. It's been absolutely fantastic to spend this time with you and also work with you again. I must say, if you haven't had an opportunity to work with Rohan, please do check in with him, because he is so efficient. He is so giving, and all the ideas and everything. So I've really appreciated your support. So thank you so much for those tuning in. I can see we do have people actually watching our live stream. Please do leave us a comment so that we know that you've been here. Give us a thumbs up, share, all of that good stuff. We do appreciate it. I'm just starting out with this podcast. I do want it to grow. So if you are watching, please do leave me a comment, and I will leave you a comment back. But here we go. We're signing off now. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day. And thank you again to Rohan. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Vanessa.
Thanks.